Hey everybody, welcome back. Another crypto news day here on X Token channel, Superman Crypto and Pulsechain X. 3 YouTube channels, of course, 10,500 subs. Big shout out to everybody who supports the channels. If you're new, of course, smash the subscribe button, hit the like, hit the bell. Now we've got all that out of the way. Let's get into it. We've got Bitcoin, of course, we're going to talk about that, Pulsechain, TitanX, and we've got some really cool news around X1. So hold on to your hat for that one. It's going to be pretty cool. Let's see who's in the house there. Get into the chat, make it lively. We've got to check my pulse in the house there. Good evening, Hexkins. Good evening to you from the bottom of the world. Good old New Zealand. Save us. We're here. It's going to be pretty cool. Now, we've lost our sunny days, but we've got overcast with some cool breeze. So hopefully that will hold us up in good stead as well. Now, if you haven't joined our Discord, links in the video description, $5 a month for that. Really good, cheap as chips, as a cup of coffee, as they say. Get in there and become part of the community. We've got a crypto helpline, which is pretty unique to, a social click, as it were. And, of course, if you want to get into our strategy club, $35 a month for that. Really great value. We're pumping, constant intel into there. So if you haven't got a chance to read everything, all sorts of stuff, we're pumping all the highlights into there. So go for gold. Larry O in the house. Yo. Good to see you, Larry. All right, let's get into it without further ado. We had after having a little bit of, the market getting hit by the Fed interest rate rise. Now, that was positive, of course. We had 1 percentage point decrease this year from 5.5 to 4.5% of the federal funds rate. We have then, of course, had also around government shutdown. We're going to talk about that briefly, but we've actually had some good news around inflation, which was the key reason for reducing expected rate cuts from 4 to 2 in 2025, down to 4.9% on the federal funds rate was the target. But we had some good inflation news today, so will that shake things up for the new year? We shall see. Let's see what the market thinks. We've got Property View in the house as well. New Zealand, home of Bilbo Baggins, says Property View. I guess he never ages, does he? Is that the one that doesn't age? I think so. We've got Hedgehog in the house here. Woo! Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Without further ado, let's get into it. And bam, let's go. We've got stock market today down in a weekly loss, despite rally on easing inflation. And that's probably the good news today. So that's kind of cool. We got the Dow Jones is up 1.2% at 500 points to 42,840. Let's just have a look at the chart there. We maxed out on the chart here. Let's actually go to maybe the last year on the chart, and we can see, we peaked up out here at 44,770 or so. We're currently at 42,830, so just down a little bit from that. The S&P 500 is up 1.1%, 63 points there. That's also off the highs. And the NASDAQ there is up 1%, 206 points to 90,579 there, just off that 20K peak at the moment. That is where we are in the stock market. The US dollar is still pretty strong, right? Look at that, 107.56. And of course, that's the Trump effect, right? We were almost down below 100. Remember that? And that was, I think, in response to interest rates at the time. But we got to 107.5, so massive rebound there. Let's quickly look at the news, though. PCE cooler than expected. Remember, there's two main inflation indicators. There's this PCE, which is what the Federal Reserve prefers. It's a broader brush, a broader based inflation measure, as opposed to what you typically hear CPI. The consumer price index, so just to take that into account. So this is actually better news from the Treasury's point of view, or the Fed's point of view. Treasury yields fell after data showing that inflation cooled in November, so good news there. That is a really big woohoo, as Hedgehog would say. That's a good news there. Eased investor fears of an even more hawkish Federal Reserve next year. In other words, hawkish in this regard, meaning less interest rate cuts is the play. The widely watched PCE price index release, the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, rose 2.4% in November on an annual basis. Remember, the target is 2%. Give you the basis there, compared with estimates of 2.5%. And, of course, beating expectations at any particular point in time is always bullish from the market point of view. On a monthly basis, it rose just 0.1%. So pretty good. Now, should the US move to a range, if that's one of the things that Trump might want to do, if he's going to try and change the Federal Reserve Act, including Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, for example, adding that in, let's do that through Congress, of course. That would be one direction he could go to as well. Actually switching from a 2% target to a 1 to 3% range. That is what New Zealand has, and of course New Zealand is the one that actually trendsetted that 2% target in the first place, but moved to a range, which a range I think is a much better idea, 1 to 3%. Excluding volatile food and energy components, the core PCE rose 2.8% compared with estimates of 2.9%. Now, that is good news from that point of view, but of course, remember, this is just inflation for a period of time, 12 months. It's not accumulated inflation. So accumulated inflation is hit hard, right? And you probably know a lot of people out there struggling. You also, a lot of people have spent their savings, right? Their savings that they had from the last boom when Trump was in. Now that we're into, the terrible impact that the Biden administration and Democrats did, not into the US, but to the world. Absolute carnage, absolute carnage. But we've got Trump coming in on the 20th of January, and he can turn things around. This release calmed some concerns as upside risks to inflation were back on the Fed's radar. US consumer prices increasing by the most in 7 months in November, and potential for the new Donald Trump administration to authorize trade and tax policies that many see as inflationary. Now, this is the secret source. This is written by a liberal, right? So liberals are the ones that say this is going to happen, and it ends up not happening. And of course, they say their policy is going to be good and ends up wrecking everything. So you got to remember that. You got to read in between the lines when you're reading this stuff. Obviously, investing.com is a left-leaning money site. And typically Trump uses, when he uses things like tax, they're typically a power play rather than tax, depending on who he's targeting there. And of course, he gets certain behavior changes from that. We think that 12-month pace of core PCE will resume its downtrend in Q1 25, and consequently that the Fed will cut 25 basis points in March, says Morgan Stanley. So positive news there. Now, obviously, we've also got the shutdown looms. Obviously, we've seen Elon Musk get in there. We've seen the Democrats squirm, right? They want to push all this money for their mates and a 40% increase in their own salaries and things like that. So they're squirming, like the little snakes they are. But it looks like, that's better to shut down the government until the 20th of January rather than trying to box in Trump, right? That's what they're trying to do there. So a lot of games being played. We'll see how that lands. But at the moment, as I understand it, the government shut down loans. Now, remember, that doesn't affect Social Security and things like that. So don't get tricked out by that. It just affects some of their add-on policies that they want to do, including debt ceilings and things like that. Government spending, debt ceilings. All right, let's go to the monitor there and quickly check some of the other indicators. There we've got the crude oil, $69, and Brent oil at $73. So it's much softer. Let's see what happens under Trump. He's going to be targeting, the fuel and oil production, things like that. So it's going to be bullish for production, and maybe see that drop. And of course, we had very low prices at the pump. Was it about 73 cents, 78 cents a gallon in the United States? So, let's see whether he can bring, maybe not that lower prices, but heading back down. Gold there, up $37 at $2,645. So a nice little day for gold, up 1.4%. Silver at 1.9% at 54 cents, $29.95, almost back over $30. So some good things happening there on the commodities, respectively. Let's quickly go and see the Fed rate monitor, see what the market expects for 2025. Now that we had this positive PCE inflation data, this is all bullish for crypto, as you guys know. So it's good news today. 5 weeks and 4 days and 19 hours to go. 29th of January is the next Fed meeting. 91% of the market, so the majority of the market expecting no change in January's Fed meeting. So that would remain at 4.5% of federal funds rate. So we've got March though. March we have 50% of the market, so half the market still expecting a no change, but we have 44% of the market or more, actually 48% expecting 25 to 50 basis points. The majority of that 25 basis points down to 4.25. So that's by March. But let's see what happens there in that regard. All right, so that is pretty much the stock market economic news. Let's get into crypto. Obviously, Bitcoin's been on the real pullback there. We've got Bitcoin at $97,712, down a 30%. Bitcoin dominance at the moment is 56%. Hasn't got near as high as it did last bull market. You've got close to 70%. But the market's changed, right? We have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of tickers now. I'm not sure how many have been added to the index since then, but things have definitely changed since that time. Crypto is so much more mature now. Now you can do bridging without worrying too much. Bridging was really, really terrifying when it was coming in. New DEXs, lots of things. So things have matured a lot in crypto. Obviously, faster blockchain than all the rest of it. ETH at the moment up 1.1% at $3,481. Man, that had a raw wick down. We're going to talk about that. And of course, XRP is at $2.28, down up at 1% almost. ADA, the big mover though, almost 95 cents, up 5.8%. BNB at 1% at $679. Tron down 1.6% at 25 cents. Those are some of the leaders. What about Litecoin? So look at Litecoin is up 1% at $101. So that is sort of our majors. Let's get into Bitcoin and look at that a bit more deeply. Obviously, people are pretty concerned, but look what we've got here on the Bitcoin chart. This is Coinbase, and we've got obviously a pullback the last 3-4 days. But look what we've got. We've got this little butterfly doji, and that's a very bullish sign on a downtrend, right? So we had a downtrend there, and look what else that doji, as the butterfly doji, has bounced off the 50-day moving average at 92,000. So that's a pretty bullish sign for a reversal. And of course, as you guys know, we're expecting a Christmas rally, just like we have in previous Bitcoin halving years. Yeah, game on. That 120K still in play for a Christmas time. So let's see what happens here. And obviously, if that inflation news is pretty good, the only offset is obviously government shutdown news. But look, virtually non-event, really. So let's see how the market goes there. Still in play, 120K upside. Definitely looking pretty good. Now, the downside, of course, is I've got 90K on the range. That was the range there, but it looks like we're pretty much hit that 92K and bounce mark there. And of course, Christmas rally, I'm still strongly expecting that, just like we have in past halving years. So no change from me. Would really have to break down that 50-day moving average there to cause any alarm, particularly. So let's get back into the crypto rover. Posted this. This is the Christmas period. You can see 2013, 2016, 2020, 2024. We have a very profitable Christmas period. Look at that green bar there. And that's what we're expecting this year as well. Yeah, don't get faked out. Altcoin season is upon us, right? They do a little bear trap for us just before the move there. So how's the returns going for Bitcoin? Well, we're way down now. We're up quite a few percentage points. Now we're just over 1%. So we've got quite a bit of room for a big move in Christmas, New Year's period, let's say. There we are, only 1%. Of course, last year we had 12%. 2020 we had 47%. In 2017, 39%. 2016, 31%. So looking for some particularly good moves there in the Christmas rally ahead. No change from my point of view on that. Now, the Bitcoin halving, as you can see, we're waiting for this banana part, the altcoin season, and Bitcoin to really hyper rally. That is there at the moment on these previous halvings, and we are just starting to enter that now. So don't get faked out. There's a few little red days on the way, but this is the place, still in play for that. Looking at Ethereum also looking much better. Obviously, we've got this golden cross in play. Now, this came down a lot further. Ethereum definitely weaker ahead of the altcoin season rally, but we got all the way down this flash crash today, down to $3,095. But look at the strength of the rebound. It is at 3,479, and it's back over the 50-day moving average in yellow. That is some really good sign of strength there, 3,440. So I think we're looking very good for a Christmas rally there. No change from me. All right, so kind of cool. Good chance to pick up some Ethereum too. Now it's going to lead us into Pulsechain. Don't forget to get in the chat there, make it lively, as we say, and get your thoughts and opinions in on the chat there. All right, so we've got Pulsechain, day 588. We've got quadruple 07 on Pulse price, down 3%, 70% of the mean sacrifice price at the moment. It's just looming there. Once it breaks those sacrifice price, those levels, in other words, 0001, really in the sentiment with the bull market here, altcoin season, we're going to see some powerful things happen over on Pulsechain. We really are set up very well for that. We've got the bridge, we've got the P-die maker theory playing out. We've got the magic carpet ride. It's going to be pretty insane over on Pulsechain. Don't fade that. PulseX, quadruple 0448, down 4% at the moment, 45% of the mean sacrifice price. Still a very good entry on PulseX at the moment. And the buy and burn just ticking away there at 1.145 billion. 5.72% of the PulseX supply has been bought up and burned so far. Now, incentive token $2.80, down 4.6%. The pulse ratio is just below 40,000 pulse per one incentive, and we have a 50,608,000 incentive tokens from the PulseX V1 farm. Hex at the moment 2.25 pennies, down 3.7%. EHEX at just under half a penny. Combined price EHEX and PX is at 2.73 cents. And of course, there's not far less BankX wall, isn't there? Last time I checked, it was about 200 million hex in there, I think, in the BankX wall. So if they can clear a lot of that out, then EHEX is going to do some pretty powerful things against PHEX. And of course, if you do you guys know James Maria? If you guys know James Maria, the Tropa dev doing stuff around PDI from the looks of it, possibly a good chance he's working with Richard Hart on the PDI maker theory, perhaps. And of course, this is the play, right? This is the play that we could see some parity, EHEX parity there. Don't knock the EHEX parity story. I know a lot of people thought it's dead and over, but it's not dead and over until we see Hex rally, right? Until we see Hex rally. Don't be tricked out by that. So we see Hex rally into the bull market. What will happen to the EHEX fund, especially once we've got the BankX out of the way? Some food for thought there, right? And if these P-maker theory plays out, magic upright and all that sort of stuff. So there we go. I said it and you heard it. There we go. All right, so that is day 588. Let's go to some of the other metrics there. The gas prices, 250,000 beats. So really good prices at the moment. 0.6 of a penny for a Pulsechain swap, 2,000 times cheaper than Ethereum. Ethereum at 10 Gwei. Going to the validators, a quick look at that. 45,067 valos, not really any change from 2 days ago when I covered it. But full DeFi chain, right? Full DeFi chain. 155 million bridged over to Pulsechain. This is a very key metric, and watch this number grow, especially if P-maker theory plays out. This could be really jump very, very fast on that. So yeah, bring it on. Can't wait till that gets to, believe it or not, it's currently 9 figures. Let's get that to 10 figures, and really things starting to magically move on there. 40.5 million dying there at the moment. We've got obviously ETH, 9,100 ETH at the moment, and 23 Bitcoin. It's going to be interesting to see some matching of Bitcoin and the OA wallets. There's so many leverages in Pulsechain. You watch it, you watch it, you watch it. Remember, Pulse is like the ocean, and perhaps PDI is like the supercharged booster. I don't know. We're going to see all that play out. Anyway, that's day 588. Let's quickly check the market for Pulsechain. 39.2 million in volume. So I'm pretty happy with that. 25 to 45 for me is a good number. Anything above that is really the rally. Rally's on. So really happy about that. We got 392,000 transactions last 24 hours. So pretty solid there. Numbers. Let's have a look at some of the big movers. Now, I'm not endorsing any of these, of course. These are just based on trending in the last 6 hours. We've got this Aguri there. It's been around for 10 hours only. It's got 22K liquidity, 4,400% and yield on that at the moment. Teddy Bear Jr. was a Teddy Jr. Up 68%. That's been around for 10 months. It's got 31K liquidity. Keisha there, it's been around for seven months, up 46%. Milady. Now, is this Milady related to Moon King, one of the big influencers out there? That's up 6.8%. I'm not sure about that one, but I have seen some talk of the town about that. That's only been around for 1 year. Yeah, not sure. We'll see. Gallardo there, up 6% at the moment at 108K liquidity. X-Burn has been around for 1 month. That is up 4%. So only a few movements here. Nothing really moving big. We haven't got a lot of ones over 10%. A couple of honorable mentions. Loan Token is up 2% at the moment. Maker is up. So if you're in the PDI theory, we covered that, yesterday? Yeah, we did yesterday. We covered that. PDI Maker theory. We did a pretty good full show, so you want to check that out. $33.39 at the moment, so that's up 1.4%. Remember, it peaked out over $80. So that's just a bit of pullback. But let's see what happens there. That's pretty much it on those markets. Those are our leaders today on Pulsechain. So good volume, modest boosters there. Probably that's probably the highlights, isn't it, at the moment? All right, so that is our Pulsechain coverage. You guys know it. What's happening? We're going to move into TitanX and X1. How about that? Let's get into those ones. So we're going to jump from Pulsechain to Ethereum now. But before we do that, let me have a cup of. We've got Excavator in the house there. Hey, gang. Good to see you, Excavator. Hope you're doing well. Enjoying the markets. It is fun times. Fun times ahead. All right, so let's get into, let's share the TitanX screen. I have it on a different window. It's just a little bit easier to run. Bam, let's go. Right, so TitanX obviously been in a consolidation. We had like 2 bounce days and then consolidation again, but we're going to check that out on the TitanX chart. It's actually, because it's already had a retrace, it's actually holding up pretty well, actually, versus the Ethereum, Bitcoin, and that going down, especially Ethereum, right, which had that flash crash down to 30, just below 3,100. Remember, it was over 4,000. It's back down almost $1,000, so that's quite a big move. But we got some big moves there. Before I get into all the movers and the percentages, let's go to TitanX itself. It is the entry, right? And here is our channel, right? So we've got this kind of Elliott wave in play. At least this is the projection. We've got this first wave, right? Big, strong wave there. Pretty mad gains. We came off the bottom there. We had 6,01700, and we had a huge, nice rally. The rally was 80 days around the world. Well, 80 days into TitanX, and we had an 850% rally in the US dollar price of TitanX. That's 9.5x in 80 days. So fun times, right? Fun times there. And did pretty well and got all the way up to 50,1600. So lost a zero and basically a 9.5x return. Pretty fantastic. Now, since that time, of course, we've been having a pullback, some whale volumes coming in here, as you can see, really went down here on the 11th of November into mid-November. So that was a real pullback there. So what do we pull back to? We pull back down a fair amount, probably down to, I mean, depending on where you take your wick, down 76%, or where we are at the moment, which is down 60% at the moment. So still very good entry to get in back in on TitanX ecosystem, particularly TitanX, right? So at the moment, what are we seeing here? So let's zoom in on this and get some auto logs just so we can zoom in on this current position where we are at the moment. So we want to get over this 21-day moving average, right? This 21 and stay across it there. That yellow line, very important there. And we are above it. We've tried to break against it. We went back and retested over the last 2 days. And then today we're up quite strongly at 6,500. So looking pretty good is this chart as a turning point. Getting a turning point in the chart with a big rally upwards, man, that's like a godsend, right? So you've got to take a little bit of leap of faith, but still looking very strong and positive for this third wave, right? This third wave. So this second wave, of course, down here 80%, let's say 60, 80%. And now we're about to, looks like we're getting that turning point. So pulling that off, pretty cool. Now, what are we looking for? A third wave, right? Third wave. Mine's quite a steep wave. I've got this up at 60%. Typically, a third wave is like 60% more than the first wave. So see here, and I've got it quite in short too, which is pretty aggressive. So that's why I've done a fan, because I've got this at 50 days. 50 days, a pretty aggressive rally there. We have got hyperinflation. Not sure if it will happen quite that fast, but that's kind of the best case scenario, if you ask me. Now, I've got this nice fan here just to show lower levels, right? Now, the bottom of this fan around 4,000, that's a 2.168 Fibonacci. So that's, expecting a good move on the third wave, but just a lot softer than this high price of losing another zero, getting to 4 zeros, 1,100 there. Definitely that's the future, but whether it's in that 50-day time frame is another question. But feeling pretty good about where this third wave will be. What will the line look like? We'll see, but we could be anything, anything in here, anything in this range could go, and the time. Obviously, the further away, the longer it take. But 50 days, I got here, to March at the end of the wave here. So beginning of March, mid-March, which is what I've got for the standard bull market. Although I think we're going to have a very powerful double top or something like that in 2025. I think 25 is going to be pretty incredible, right through to probably November or something like that. We shall see. But that is where we're looking pretty good. Shogun, of course, is ticking down. So we're only got 6 days left. In fact, after today's close in a few hours, we only have 5 days left. That's going to be pretty awesome there. So let's see how we go. Shogun is going to be a massive catalyst once it finishes. And we've got so many things happening over the Christmas period. It is crazy around the TitanX ecosystem. There's so many milestones being hit, so many bots and so many buy and burns and all sorts of stuff going on, launches and everything else that we've got the vortexes opening up. It is going to be a pretty magical period here. So I am expecting a pretty strong rally in TitanX into the new year on the back also of altcoin season playing out with the Christmas rally. So stars are aligning, basically, is what I'm saying there. And we've pretty much had our retrace. You can see we've actually consolidated quite nicely in here as well, in this range here. Consolidated pretty nicely there. The other thing is that I'm going to get rid of the overlays because I want to talk a bit more about this, and let's match it versus ETH, right? So I've got the US dollar price there. Let's look at ETH, and let's go to the daily on ETH. So you can actually see we've bounced on ETH, right? So ETH has pulled back the last couple of days, but TitanX has managed to hold up and actually go up in value. So we're at 1650, 90 1650 versus ETH. Now we're at 90 1873, and we really have gotten some nice little support in here. So next target, 2500, 90s, and up and away. Now we peaked out, of course, when we had that big rally up at almost 6,000, 6,000. So keep a lookout for that. Very, very important. That is the chart at the moment. And obviously, at the beginning, we had quite higher prices, but keep a lookout for that. We're going to do some pretty crazy stuff versus ETH as we move forward. We need to track more ETH in there, but that's kind of the play. So that is TitanX at the moment, up about 6% on the 24 hours. Kind of cool. Now let's have a quick look at some of the other ones there. Before we do, though, let's have a look at Steve Wright, Standard Barbara. You're informative, and it always helps me to listen to you. So many of us learn a lot. Steve Wright, I appreciate that, Steve Wright. Big shout out to you, big long-term supporter. All right. Sonny says you are killing yourself with TitanX crap. I'm pretty sure I'm alive there, Sonny. I'm not sure what's happening with you there, but anyway, you got welcome to your own opinions. All right, so let's jump over here. We've got the top mover at the moment, Lotus up 29%. We've got Eden up 27% as well. Those are number 1 and 2, and then Morpheus at number 25. Now remember that Morpheus has got the DEX coming up, right? So that's going to be a huge utility for the TitanX ecosystem, and that is probably going to use Morpheus there and burn that off. So Morpheus is already doing pretty well on that one, and we can see that it's sitting at 0.5 Dragon X. So one Morpheus will get you half a Dragon X at the moment. So, but people are talking about parity there, and of course with that DEX coming, has got Brandon, formerly Rags to Riches, there, who is promoting that and building that out. So we're looking forward to some cool things there. TitanX having its own DEX, and of course with innovative tokenomics as well. Kind of cool. Shogun at the moment. Shogun there is up 14%. Shogun X28. Now, I'm super bullish on Shogun. Obviously, this is Jake Sharp. He's the founder of TitanX, and of course, also the founder of X28 and Shogun. Very bullish about this, and of course, the auctions are closing down, right? So we got day 23. There's 28-day auctions in the distribution phase. So what does that mean? That means that 2.8 billion Shogun is being allocated 100 million a day for 28 days. So that's the distribution. After that, there will be these things called War Chest, which is here at the moment, and it's got a massive amount of Shogun in it. Currently 465 million Shogun. That's obviously going to be over $500 million by the time we finish. That is outstanding result. And 8%, I think it is going to be going into the auctions every day. So out of that amount. So those are what we call perpetual auctions. They will be recycling existing supply. There's only going to be 2.8 billion. And of course, a lot of that's getting burned off. Now, the amazing things with this distribution is that the burned amount is going up every day. 100 million is issued. We're on day 23. So we've got 5.5 hours to go for that. Then we've got day 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. So we've only got 5 more days after this. It is crazy. 5 more days after this to get in. Yeah, we are going to see this buy and burn continue to go up. How many distribution phases do you have where the buy and burn goes up and the liquid supply goes down while you're issuing more liquidity? Now, the one thing that hasn't got on here is unclaimed Shogun, which is still significant. But man, the fact is that these numbers are going down fantastically every day. It's incredible. So we've got liquid is at 54.89%. Now, I've actually got the numbers penciled in here. So let's quickly do that from yesterday. I took the close. So I took the close yesterday at 7 o'clock. So what are we at? 12:30. So we're 6.5 hours. So about 7.5 hours ago, this is the data. So we started off with 9.01% buy and burn. This is at the end of yesterday's auction. And here we are at 9.28%. Crazy stuff, right? And that's with people claiming more stuff out, right? Claiming more stuff out. The liquid was 55.4%, and we're at 54.89%. Now, remember, after the auction closes, essentially 100 million Shogun issued. So people have to claim it, but that is the play. So this is phenomenal results across the board. What's the secret sauce? Why is this happening? Well, obviously there's volume that's happening on the chain. So if we actually go to Shogun volume, we can actually see the biggest volumes at the moment. A Shogun X28, it's 985K. That typically goes over 1 million every so often. And Shogun TitanX there is at 965K. Now remember, this is at the bottom of that second wave for TitanX. So we get this rally on. These volumes are going to go up dramatically, right? Liquidity volumes and the LP volume. So what's the LP volume at the moment? Well, across the peers that I've got 14. I think there's probably around 25 peers at the moment. That's probably going to expand to up to 50, 60 peers based on intentions that Jake Sharp's talked about. He has lots of Shogun to pair with that. And at the moment, we've got, the volume sitting at about 550K. That can sometimes go over 1 million depending on the day. Typically, I've seen it around 650 to 750K, and I expect that just to grow into the millions. And so you can see that that's getting charged 8%. Probably about 60%, says Jake Sharp, is a bot activity. So imagine that every day. Crazy stuff's going to happen with this protocol. So that tax, what they call the war tax there, is funding of these, buy and burns and the decreased liquidity and stuff like that, and feeding the vault there. So some pretty awesome stuff happening with the LP. I'm expecting that to thicken up as well as we get up to day 28. So at the moment, let's have a quick look at the buy and burn. Buy and burn is operating. So we talked about the LP and the 8% tax. We've also got this buy and burn operating at the same time. So this is the second big part of the secret sauce. We've got almost $500 billion TitanX in there. And in the Shogun buy and burn, we've got 1.15 trillion X28, which is pretty crazy stuff. So we've got these 8% burn fees, basically the best development 280, and then we've got the best of Vault, right, in this mix here. And boy, the numbers speak for themselves, doing incredible. Now the auction at the moment is running at 310%. So we actually seen the last couple of days have actually been the best day to go on the auction. So we've had sub trillion X28 days, and yesterday was the best. I think we were like 780 billion. That was the best day to go on. Will today be even a better day? And then of course, will we see FOMO kick in the last sort of 3 to 5 days? We'll see FOMO kick in, and of course maybe the lowest day was yesterday, maybe it's today. We're going to find out pretty soon. At the moment, we've got 214 billion X28 in there. That is where we are at the moment. The other thing, of course, is by the time we get to day 28, you cannot use TitanX stakes anymore. That's very important to remember. You cannot use TitanX stakes anymore, and you have to match it with liquid TitanX. So after that, you'll only be able to use a liquid X28, and the only way to get X28 is, of course, through with TitanX. So that's the key there. So at the moment, TitanX is sitting at 48.22%. That is actually down from yesterday. I've actually got the numbers from yesterday as well. So we had 48.36%. We're now down to 48.22% on the total circulating. And probably interesting enough is that the liquid amount has been moving around quite a lot. That has not really changed much. In fact, that's up from yesterday, the liquid one. So we'll be keeping an eye on that amount as well. Probably the other big one is the staked amount, and that is what's going into what's being recycled. What we see is that we had 10.45 trillion TitanX staked only 17, 18 hours ago. That is now gone below 10 trillion. We're at 9.9 trillion in there at the moment. Now, obviously, we've got DragonX and Helios stakers in there, but that is where we're at 9.9. It'll be interesting to see how much we get in the next five days plus, where that staked number ends up sitting. Obviously, that's going to make DragonX and all that way more powerful. They're going to get way more ETH. So pretty interesting there. So crazy stuff happening. All right, so that is pretty much that. With that, let's jump over to the X28. Now we're gonna have a quick look at X28. This is where it is at the moment. Now the supply of X28. Remember, this is essentially TitanX, but it is featured different. It's featured different because it when you put TitanX in there, it burns 50% of TitanX. It issues you the same amount of TitanX in X28, so you get 1 for 1. But it is burning 50% of the TitanX supply, so it is a public good for everybody. And then it takes the other amount and it puts it in the buy and burn, and it buys X28 off the market. So kind of cool. It's a very clever system. And wait till we get second layer protocols bull on this. It's going to be crazy because look at the supply. 10.23% is liquid. In fact, yesterday we had down under 9%. So this is doing some crazy things in this because the BOX protocol, that Shogun, has got all this X28 in it. And of course, buy and burn 2.4 trillion X28 has been burned. This thing is a beast. And wait till we get the ARB turned on, where the arbitrage gets turned on, where the price difference sucks in TitanX around and around into this. So that's going to be crazy. Day 28, probably expect that for Shogun somewhere around there. Yeah, this has came on. And then third layer protocols, which we know there's 5 to 7 of them coming. There's 28 already. And then, of course, this goes multi-chain as well. That's just for Ethereum. So do the math. It's going to be pretty crazy stuff happening in this ecosystem. So far, Shogun looking pretty good. Day 23 out of 28, about to close to 5.5 hours. It's going to be fun to see where that lines, which will be the lowest day to get in. That's going to be fun. Now, I kind of ignore the ROI unless you're recycling. Other than that, you really care about the amount of TitanX goes in there if you're going to hold for a while. So pretty exciting stuff happening there, and the volumes are ticking away pretty nice. We're going to keep an eye on this 24-hour volume, obviously expecting that to go up a lot more in the future. All right, so let's have a quick look at the rankings in terms of yield. Before we do that, let's have a little, we've got Andre in the house there, bullish. Yeah, I'm pretty bullish about that too. Cool. All right. Let's see where we're going. Let me just jump back here. Just going to switch this around. Let me just jump over here. And all right, that's looking pretty good. All right, so let's jump over to the rankings. So at the moment, obviously Morpheus is the best performer at the moment. Just swapped around from when we were talking about it earlier. 26%, Eden up 21%, Lotus up 20%. Shogun, as we said, making a nice little comeback at the moment, 5,900. So man, we could see some pretty powerful moves in Shogun. Really bullish about where that's heading with all those fundamentals I told you about, and a few more like the LPs fees getting sunk and third layer protocols, all sorts of stuff coming there. So it's been pretty cool. The other big thing is X28. All the protocols building X28 is going to out rally Shogun too. So because it's paired with X28, right? And it's only 10% liquid. So crazy stuff going to happen there, folks. Don't fade it. Do your own due diligence and your own research and all that. But man, it's looking going to be crazy once we get through this distribution phase. AWX also makes up 13%. Scale up 8% there. Flux up 8%. Helios up 6%. We've got what else there? Tink at the moment. Tink sitting at 44%, up 5%. Now we know that Eric from DragonX who's the founder of Tink Farm, probably the most innovative farm on the planet. Really is crazy. Is got some big news coming for the community next week, I believe it is. Pretty sure it's next week. Probably beginning next week or something like that. So we're looking forward to that. Also, rumors about a Binance listing for DragonX and things like that. It's talked about that. We'll see where that lands. But he did get CZ responding to him on one of his X posts. So that's pretty crazy. Legend X there up 4.5%. Inferno 4% at the moment. And of course, Firmo going to benefit from one of the projects coming up. We're going to talk about that. DragonX at the moment is sitting at 7,200, up 3%. Now, the ratio of DragonX to TitanX, very important, is 11.09. So it has drifted down a little bit. It's still looking pretty strong there. And of course, big influencer, million followers has been pumping the talk around, was it DragonX? DragonX there, so looking pretty good. Hyper at the moment up 1.7%. Hyper, of course, is Hyper and Hydra, both potential good opportunities because the ratios are so low, but the max minters are generally out. So going to be interesting to see Hyper and, of course, the second layer protocols building on top of that, like Matrix that we've seen recently. The other big one, of course, we talked about the DEX from the Morpheus coming up. That's a bullish utility, but we've also got RRX Ouroboros coming up. That's at 1.4%. That's expected to launch in the next week or something. Is expectations there. So we'll see if that does launch in that time frame for Christmas. Like everything else, with the vortex is opening up for Hydra and Hyper. We could see some crazy stuff happening for Hyper and Hydra as well as Ouroboros. So you see what I mean? We've got so many fundamentals coming. This system is about to explode to the upside. So it already had its pullback, and it's looking pretty good. Alien X is up 0.2%. Volt at the moment, obviously, Volt there was what a big runner. Obviously, the volume was one of the biggest volumes, still is, but really waiting for some of the utilities to come back into Volt to kickstart that up. And of course, I think if TitanX starts running as well, then you'll get that relativity play on Volt, where it will go up by a bigger percentage. The supply is continuing to reduce, just like we see in other Volt-related projects that you can see actually performing pretty well. Eden and Lotus, for example, at the top there. And of course, we've got the big news today about Viper, the boost. So Viper's got 2 auctions now playing out. So we see that's in play. And obviously for Volt, we're waiting for these utilities like staking and other utilities that will come in support Vault as well as any more pillars, maybe like Kaizen coming out for Shogun. Kaizen for Shogun. So pretty cool. Excited about where that will get to. So that's kind of the play there. Matrix course recently launched from Mike Dean, and that is down 2.45% at the moment, but holding at 1300 of a penny. Hydra, of course, is the other one along with Hyper. That is down 4% at the moment, but like I say, max miners are out. Vortex is opening up in a few days. Look out for Hyper and Hydra. Could be a really good ratio play, and also a pump effect from the Vortex, right? Also, obviously going to benefit DragonX there with the buy and burn. So some interesting stuff coming there. As I say, Viper out down 6% today, but Viper going to get the boost from the new auction. It's got two auctions, Classic and Boost, and of course, there's no Vault buying in the booster, so it's going to benefit Viper quite a lot directly. 6% there. Blaze down 6.6%. Phoenix is down 7.5%. Obviously, Phoenix, one of the more recent launches like Matrix, that is sitting down 7.5% there as well. And what else we're going to say? Element 280 down 11.6%, but we've got a project coming for that. Stacks, that's going to be another utility, just like Element 280. It's on the buy side, of course. So yeah, excited about that. And then Turbo is down 13% at the moment. Of course, that takes Hyper. That probably will lift us Hyper lifts and so on. So we're just waiting for a bit more catalyst to move. But the next week we've got so many bullish things coming. It could be pretty insane. So let me just briefly go through some of that. Now, if you haven't joined our strategy club, links in the video description. We cover multi-chain opportunities. So yeah, get in there on that one. Now, some of the key things coming up, of course, are going to be 20th there. We've got Viper launch. That's today. Viper Boost. It's the second, so it's running dual auctions now, Classic and Boost. We've got the launch of Stacks coming up on the 22nd. We've got the Hydra Vortex opening up on the 24th of December. We got the last day of Shogun distribution on the 25th. Now, I don't know. A lot of people are missing out on that, I think, but if you're in the play, it should be pretty good. 25th of December, last day, Matrix, first 8 days distribution phase. So it's got a very short distribution phase for Matrix. That's Mike Dean's project. And, of course, that takes TitanX and Ethereum, remember. 26th of December, Hyper Vortex is coming, and the payout, there's got a payout pool too for stakers. And then the 25th, 26th December launch, USDX minting is expected for Ouroboros. So massive supply sync and multi-collateral lending pool and stablecoin could be absolutely huge for the token there. So yeah, we'll see. And of course, Godex expected to launch on 28th, so that could probably be bullish for Inferno there and others. So a lot of stuff coming up ahead for the TitanX system, as you guys can see. So I think we've covered that pretty well. Let's have a quick look at the Vault boost. So that is just gone live. The wait is over. Our exciting Viper boost update is going live within an hour, and here it is. So 2 distinct auctions, both auctions exclusively for Viper tokens and are designed to buy and burn Viper. So bullish news for Viper. Viper Classic runs the buy and burn directly through DragonX Vault Viper. Viper Boost, which is the new one, directly buy and burn directly through DragonX and Viper. So 2 auctions running. That's double booster for Viper. The only visible change, a new tab to easily switch between these two. Let's quickly have a look at Viper on the Mike Dean's dashboard. We've got some cool stuff. This is pretty cool. So much stuff happening. Man, I'm dropping so much alpha in this live stream. Who else drops this alpha like this? Just not constant. Bam, 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 bam. I watch all the other influencers, so it's like, what the heck? What are they not doing? Right, so let's go. You can do it, but you might have to wait like 5 hours before you find it. So let's go to, we've got Viper Boost here, 135% at the moment yield. Viper Classic, 115%. TikTok, it's time to rock, as they say. So kind of cool. You got 2, you just click over and you can enter either of them there. The stats is look at that. 40.5% of Viper's been burned. That's impressive, man. That is impressive. And of course, we've got the Viper supply, 546 million. I remember it started off over $1 billion, wasn't it? Yeah, $1 billion there. Viper burned Viper 405 million. And of course, the Viper Classic Treasury now, we've got 2 treasuries because we've got the boost. So this is the classic one. It's got 24.3 million in it. And now we've got the Viper Boost Treasury with 24 million in it. Wow, supercharged. So there we go. Now that is the play. And of course, got the corresponding yields now as well. And to get in Vault's at 9%. Vault's always cleaning out there. Turbo, which takes Hyper, or buys Hyper, there is at 55%. Or takes Hyper, I should say. So that is pretty powerful. Let's see where that lands on that one. Now, the other one I will look at is, let's quickly look at the burn values of Turbo and Vault while we're here. Oh, actually, he went to the wrong spot there. Let me just go to Turbo. Turbo, of course, is another pillar. Viper's a pillar, so to speak. I mean, they're quasi-pillars now because I think they've made a few changes. Let's go here, and 26.77% Turbo burnt so far. Might get a rally on with Turbo once Turbo starts moving a bit there. Let's see, and the other one is Volt, of course, is the parent, the Genesis. Let's have a quick look at Volt. And Volt at the moment, let's have a look. It is sitting at 36.6%. So we had a Viper at 40.5 with the booster. Now we have a Volt at 36.59%. Now Volt's going to get a lot of the utilities and benefits from the pillars, generally speaking, and that's got 27.1 million in the Volt balance at the moment. So that's where it is. So that's actually pretty good, actually. Didn't realize that it was that high. I'm sure it was much lower before. Just trying to remember now. So that is the auction. So if we go to the auction there, auction is sitting at 6.5 million volt. So that's going to play. That's 20% of that treasury, right? Goes into the Volt there auction every day, and it looks like it's getting pretty much sold out. So there we go. That is Stevie D, the mad scientist, and of course launched Boost today. So that's a good innovation. Now we're looking forward to the utilities coming. Thunder staking for Volt and other things like that. Kaizen for Shogun, that'd be pretty bullish. He pulls out Kaizen on the 28th day. Maybe he surprises the market with that because he's got surprises coming for Christmas time. So we'll see what that ends up being. The other one, of course, is Element 280. That's coming down the line, right? So let's quickly look at TitanX Hub before we get into the X1 news. Let's go down to what's launching. We've got Stacks coming up in 1 day and 14 hours. And then we've got Godex in 17 days. Those are the ones I went through, highlights. But Stacks is coming. Man, I'm bullish about this. You should be too. Imagine if we get Kaizen on Shogun at the end of 28 days. That'd be a surprise to the upside. And imagine if we get this also. This is going to be a buy and burn. It's going to be basically a big buyer. And we're looking forward to that, right? So it's going to be buying all these top projects. And we could see a new X28 protocol Shogun in the mix. So imagine that Kaizen and Stacks. If that plays out, now obviously not financial advice, but if that plays out, big buyer of that coming in, crazy. You're getting the TitanX. So Stacks Tokenomics, 28-day mint phase, 1 TitanX. It basically gets you 1 Stacks token. So that TitanX going in, folks, and going to be buying all these different protocols, just like we see with Element 280, Element 369. Woo! Could be bullish. And of course, they've added in some new features here from the looks of it. Yeah, Stacks NFTs just got even better, now featuring super and LFG bonus reward amplifiers up to 200x. A lot of fire there. Unlock even more staking payouts every 9 days. The rewards just keep growing. Time to level up your staking game. So this could be pretty damn popular. As we know, this has been a very successful project so far. So we shall see where that goes. So reward pool in the mix there. We've got all the different details in there. I'm not going to go through them all, but you guys can read it through on Mike Dean. So let me post it, Mike Dean's TitanX Hub, if you want to check out any of these projects that I've talked about, because this thing is about to get legitly good. We've got Archie in the house there, the Don of Dons. Big shout out to Archie. Hi all. Hope you're doing well there, Archie. And we've got dropped a special gift in the Mafia chat, Super. Oh, did it? I'll have to check that one out. Let me see. Should I check it now? Let's do it now. So season greeting from the directorate. Like that. I worked hard on this one. In 24 hours, crypto gaming will never be the same. Mafia, yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if I download that. I'm not even sure. Let me have a look there. That's we might play that on the way out. How about we do that? I don't even know if I can get it downloaded. Let's see if I can download this now. This is from the Don of Dons, of course. Let's see. See if I can copy that down. Did I download that at all? I don't know what's happened there. There we go. Let's put that on. Let's play that. We'll play that on the way out. That's pretty cool. All right, so that's going to be from the Don of Dons. Who else we got there? We got Brennan Eslick in the house there. Morning, folks. I see Bitcoin pullback touched the 50 EMA. Yeah, you did indeed. Talked about that earlier, Brennan. I've got to get you back on the show to do a TA session. Seems a good thing to do. All right, so let's play this news here. So that is pretty much the TitanX there. So we've got Stacks launching in a day and a half. They're going to be very bullish for the whole TitanX ecosystem. Big buy coming in again. So that's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so let's jump away to the rest of it. And we're going to get into the video about X21. So X1, from what was it? Jack Levin. There we go. Too many J's around. Jacob Jack Levin, aka the Vampire. He has, of course, the X1 chain is coming for Zen and all related Zen tokens like Vampire token, etc. So when was it going to launch? We've had many dates before. Well, there was a live stream. He did an interview, and here's the video about when it's going to launch. He does make a bit of a faux pas, obviously a little bit tired there, working hard on X1 chain. This is going to be the first fork of Solana, remember? So it's going to be pretty impressive. It's going to have all the bells and whistles, IGN layer, everything else. It's going to be crazy. Its own dexes and all sorts of stuff. It's going to be pretty amazing stuff. So let's check it out around the launch.
Yeah, let's get so are you aiming? Is there like a rough time?
I would say roughly like early 2015 is the TGE event, token generation event, basically. So when the chain launches
2015.
15, yeah. Well, I am a vampire. Those decades are nothing to me. 2025. 2025.
Okay.
So there we are, folks. Early 2025 is when we're going to get X21 late. That's the expected launch now. So we do have a first date there. So that looks already firm. We know that X1 is actually ready, but they have been doing a lot of the stuff around tokenomics and the burn pools, things like that. So yeah, pretty crazy. Now, obviously, that I don't know what that would come in for the chart. The chart might like ease off a little bit, may get rallied. Who knows? Because obviously there's a bit more time to go before that happens. So there we go. That is some cool news. Hope you guys enjoyed that. There's some of the stuff we're putting through strategy clubs. If you haven't joined, the link's in the description. Only $35 a month there to get in there and get all the latest and greatest. All right, so we play this Mafia thing. Before we do, though, Brennan says Dragonfly Doji about to close on the daily. Yeah, for Bitcoin looking very good there, Brennan. I did mention that too. I did mention that as well. On a downtrend too, which is very bullish. All right, so let's get into it. And let's play this video on the way out. 51 minutes on the live. Hope you guys have enjoyed the show. It's been packed full of non-stop news and alpha. And of course, we don't muck around with drama on this channel or talk about the gardening and the weekend. That's good to do, but we don't talk about it on the crypto show. That's pretty much as we say. All right, hopefully you enjoy this Mafia Christmas video from our Don of Dons, Archie, the #1 most feared, most intelligent of them all. And a big shout out to all the families in the directorate. The map is opening up soon for the biggest land grab, the first metaverse on Pulsechain, and of course playing on BNB. Mafia is going to be a huge game. We covered that yesterday, so check that out. But here it is, a Mafia Christmas. Let's go.
They say it's the season of giving. Well, I'm here to take. White Christmas